The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as Ambassador Zephyr of the Altarian Empire stood before the assembled delegates. Her crystalline features reflected the harsh lighting as she delivered what she believed would be humanity's final judgment. The evacuation of Kepler 442b must proceed according to established protocols, she announced, her voice echoing through the vast hall. Each species will transport their strongest, their brightest, their most genetically viable specimens. The weak, the old, and the infirm will remain. Ambassador Chenwei sat quietly in the human delegation section, her weathered hands folded calmly in her lap. Around the chamber, representatives from dozens of species nodded in agreement. This was the way it had always been done. When worlds died, only the worthy survived. The Vorthan delegate, his 6 arms gesticulating wildly, added his support. My people have followed this wisdom for millennia. We take the warriors, the breeders, the intellectuals. The burden of the weak would doom us all. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Kethvar, with their hive mind efficiency, had never even conceived of saving their drones. The silicon-based Quarians simply processed their defective units into raw materials. Even the peaceful Melodians, despite their reputation for harmony, selected only their most gifted singers for their arc ships. Ambassador Chen finally stood, her movement so quiet that several delegates didn't notice at first. When she spoke, her voice was soft but carried clearly through the chamber's acoustics. We respectfully declined to follow this protocol. The chamber fell silent. Zephyr's crystalline face shifted through several colors. Confusion, then disbelief, then something approaching horror. Ambassador Chen, she said carefully, perhaps you misunderstood. Kepler 442b will be uninhabitable within 6 standard months. The quantum storms will strip away the atmosphere. There is no time for sentiment. Chen smiled, and something in that expression made several delegates uncomfortable. It wasn't cruel or mocking, it was patient, like a teacher watching students work through a difficult problem. We understood perfectly, Ambassador Zephyr. Humans will evacuate everyone from Kepler 442b. Every colonist, regardless of age, health, or genetic markers. The Vorthan delegate's arms writhed in agitation. Impossible. The logistics alone are considerable, Chen agreed, but not impossible. You see, while your species were perfecting the art of selection, humans were perfecting the art of transportation. She activated her holographic display, and the chamber filled with the image of space above Kepler 442b, where other species had positioned sleek, efficient vessels designed for optimal cargo. The human fleet looked different. The ships were massive, ungainly things that seemed to violate several principles of aesthetic design. They bristled with docking bays, cargo pods, and what appeared to be temporary habitat modules welded directly onto their hulls. These are our evacuation vessels, Chen explained. Each one was designed not for speed or efficiency, but for capacity and comfort. We call them road ships. Zephyr's translator struggled with the concept. Road ships? An old human saying, build roads, not walls. When faced with obstacles, we don't select who gets to cross, we build a way for everyone to make the journey. The display zoomed in on one of the vessels. The delegates could see vast common areas, medical bays that looked more like hospitals than ship infirmaries, and recreational spaces filled with beings of all ages and species. This is preposterous, the Quarian delegate buzzed through their translator. The fuel cost alone are manageable when you're not trying to achieve maximum velocity, Chen interrupted gently. These ships are slow, Ambassador, much slower than your sleek evacuation craft. But they're also much larger, and they're designed for longer journeys with larger populations. She changed the display to show the interior of one of the medical bays. A human doctor was treating an elderly Altarian whose crystalline structure had developed stress fractures, a condition that would have disqualified him from traditional evacuation protocols. Dr. Martinez here is one of our xenomedical specialists. Each road ship carries a full medical team trained in treating age-related and chronic conditions across 47 different species. The Melodian representative, her song speech translating to nervous harmonics, asked, "But surely you cannot save them all?" "The numbers are substantial," Chen acknowledged. 14 million beings on Kepler 442b. Our preliminary calculations suggest we'll need 43 road ships for complete evacuation. 43? Zephyr's colors shifted to what humans had learned indicated extreme shock. The largest evacuation fleet in recorded history used only 7 vessels. Because they only took the 7 million they deemed worth saving, Chen replied quietly. We're taking everyone. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates argued, translated rapid conversations in dozens of languages, and gestured frantically at holographic displays showing their own, more modest evacuation plans. Through it all, Chen waited patiently. When the noise finally died down, she continued, I know this seems inefficient to you. I know it appears to violate every principle of resource management and survival optimization that your species have developed over millennia. She paused, looking around the chamber at faces and sensory organs representing dozens of species. But here's what we've learned in our brief time among the stars. The weak today might be the strong tomorrow. The old carry wisdom that can't be quantified. The infirm often see solutions that the healthy miss. The display changed again, showing a human child in a mobility device working alongside an elderly HFY researcher in one of the ship's laboratories. Young Sarah here was born with a condition that affects her mobility. In your protocols, she would have been left behind. But last month, her unique perspective on spatial relationships helped Dr. HFY solve a decades-old problem in quantum navigation. Zephyr's colors had shifted to something the humans had never seen before. A deep, swirling pattern that their xenobiologists couldn't interpret. This is madness, she whispered. You're risking everything for beings that contribute nothing. Chen's smile never wavered. Ambassador, in human culture, we have another saying. A society should be judged not by how it treats its strongest members, but by how it treats its weakest. She gestured to the massive ships on the display. These vessels represent the best of human engineering, not because they're fast or beautiful, but because they're designed around a simple principle: no one gets left behind. The Vorthan delegate's arms had stilled completely, a sign of deep contemplation in his species. But the cost? Surely your economy cannot sustain such expenditure. You're thinking about this wrong, Chen replied. You see evacuation as a cost. We see it as an investment. Every being we save is a potential contributor to our collective future. Every different perspective, every unique experience, every unconventional approach to problems, that's not dead weight. That's genetic and cultural diversity. She activated a final display showing the road ship's projected courses. Unlike the direct, efficient routes planned by other species, the human vessels would take winding paths through space, stopping at multiple waypoints. Our ships will make stops at 17 different worlds on their way to the resettlement zones. At each stop, we'll allow any being who wishes to disembark and start a new life there. Some will choose to continue the journey. Others will find their perfect home along the way. A road, Zephyr said suddenly, her colors shifting to something that might have been understanding. You're not just evacuating them. You're giving them choices. Chen nodded. Every species in this chamber has mastered the art of selection. But humans, we've mastered the art of inclusion. And that, ambassadors, is why our inefficient methods will outlast your optimal ones. As the session ended and delegates filed out in contemplative silence, Zephyr approached the human ambassador. Your road ships, she said quietly. Would there be room for one more passenger? Chen's smile lit up the chamber. Ambassador, there's always room for one more. Outside the council chamber, construction crews were already working around the clock, welding new habitat modules onto the human fleet. Because when humans built a road, they built it wide enough for everyone who wanted to walk it.